Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So our next topic is more about communication. Okay, how do we communicate with the ATC? So as of now, this module is not that important, but there are certain things which are important in this module which we need to understand. This ATC procedure and radio telephony will come more effective or more important will come when we have BVLOS. Okay, because that point in time we would have to monitor our drones. The ATC would be monitoring our drones and they will be tracking our drones, and we need to communicate with the ATC. We do not know as of now how ATC will be coming or playing roles, which ATC will be actually coming, whether it will coming the ATC which is monitoring the air traffic, or where there will be a separate ATC who will be monitoring the drone traffic or UTM traffic, or there could be something called as UTM monitoring stations would be there, which will be monitoring and will be communicating with them on the flying of the drones. Okay. As of now, for the from the training perspective, this module is important in case you are flying a drone in a either in a red zone or probably in a yellow zone. Okay. Red zone is normally we never fly in a red zone, but mostly the flying of the drones could probably happen in yellow zone where we have to interact with the ATC, okay, air traffic control, because that is the location where the commercial or the manned aircrafts are been flying. In that, we are actually trying to fly our drones. So in that scenario, how do we, because in that is a monitored controlled airspace where we need to make sure that we are communicating to ATC about our operations and our activities. Okay, I hope I before we start up this session, I was just putting up some questions, and you were able to answer them. So this is how actually the questions would be coming in your test paper, similar to these lines. Okay, so whatever, I hope you would have seen that whatever I have taught you, from that perspective only the questions were there, and you were able to answer them more or less correct. Okay, only thing is that don't rush to the answers. Try to read the questions properly and see what is the appropriate answer. Okay, there is no hurry. We have a 40 minutes times to answer 30 questions, so almost per question you have 1 minute. Okay, so spend that 1 minute properly on a question and try to answer those questions properly. Okay, more important more important is you have to go through the summary sheet what I am sending to you to tonight. Okay, so evening post the session is done, you should get the summary sheet for your reading and preparation for your theory. Yeah, Jagjit, you're saying.
Yeah, sir, the summary sheet will also have, because well, a lot of points you spoke, sir, were quite relevant. And, I made a note of few points, but, some points have got missed. So, will this only cover the
Mostly,
slides, or will it cover explanation also to it, sir? Like, you mentioned.
what is the scripts of my slides will be
Yeah.
there in the.
Okay, great.
In case you
Great.
find any particular point is not there, then you can tell me. I can send you, because on the group I will be sending some images of the slides also.
Sure, sure, sure. And,
So
sir, any reference, like you mentioned about the Digital Sky website, is there any other reference websites which you would want us to go through for better understanding and grip of the subject?
as of now, not required.
Okay, sir.
As
Okay.
of now, not required. But over the due course of time, I will share you some links which will be helpful for your reading purpose in case you need. But more or less,
Sure, sir.
whatever is I'm sharing you is more or less enough for you to begin with.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. And if you have any questions, we can put that to you tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can always put
Okay.
up. You can any point in time you can put up in group, or you can connect me to directly.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Okay.
Okay, so ATC procedures and radio telephony. Let's see what we have here. So clear understanding of ATC operations are required. Communication with ATC plays an important role as we enter the manned aircraft airspace and ecosystem. So communication with ATC is very, very important, because that is where your manned aircrafts are there, and we are trying to fly a unmanned aircraft over there. Okay, so what is more important is manned aircraft. Okay, so we need to see how we are communicating our operations activity to ATC, and ATC is monitoring the RPAS operation, and we are trying to see that it goes hassle free. Okay, so ATC should be informed for any RPAS operation prior to the commencing the operation. So for example, if your flight is scheduled, okay, if your unmanned aircraft is supposed to fly at 10 a.m., you should communicate at least 2 hours prior to your operations. So it means you have to communicate to ATC at 8 a.m. You have to communicate to them, tell them what is what required. So how to tell, what to communicate, that we'll see in the subsequent slide. But you have to inform them, take their acknowledgement, and then you can actually commence your operation at your intended time of operations. It is important to follow the ATC procedure in order to avoid interruption to manned aircraft, because as per the drone rules, right of way is what? Manned aircraft. So manned aircraft will be always given a first preference. Probably ATC would always say that they will deny your operations also, or they will deny flying of your drone also. So in that case, your planned activity will get cancelled. To avoid that, you should plan in conjunction, in with confirmation from the ATC services. Okay, so each RPA, that is remote pilot aircraft operator, must be in two-way communication with ATC. So how you will communicate to ATC? Whatever ATC you are communicating, you should have a contact details of ATC. So you will be contacting ATC on landline number. Okay, that is how you will communicate to ATC. RPA pilot should be aware of the airspace and restrictions imparted in it while operating the RPA. Instructions matlab kya? Restrictions is what? Restrictions are nothing but priority is always for the manned aircraft. Okay, and you should always fly drone as low as possible. Okay, in case you need to fly your drone high and all, whatever, you need to communicate to ATC accordingly. Okay, any questions so far here? No.
No, sir.
Sir, the landline numbers will be provided on the Digital Sky site
Airport,
to ATC.
site, airports, airport. You
Okay.
have to reach to ATC. When you are taking a permission for yellow, this thing, they will communicate to you what number you have to communicate. Okay, when you get approved from the ATC part, you will get numbers and contact details of when, what time to communicate accordingly. Okay, so they will give you the numbers. Okay, they are not the numbers which are always accessible for general people. Okay, so when you are communicating to the body, to ATC body, they will reply back to you what number and what contact, because that is a something number which is changed, okay, or given only when it is required. Okay, so under the ATC operations, you have to make sure that you are communicating your unmanned operations to ATC with prior information and during the actual operations also. So this is just the basics. This is just a funny part of it. So radio telephony basics. RT provides the means by which pilot and the ground personnel communicate with each other. Okay, the information and instruction transmitter are of a vital importance in a safe and expeditious operations of aircraft, personnel involved in operation and people on ground. So we have to take this little bit seriously. Okay, whatever the ATC is trying to communicate, or whatever we are trying to communicate to ATC, the communication has to be appropriate and particular and crisp. Okay, if we find that we are not able to understand, it is always advisable to ask. There cannot be an option for assumption कि मुझे ऐसे लगा, लाल बटन नहीं नीला बटन दबाना था या हरा बटन दबाना था या नहीं दबाना था, something like that. So you have to be very clear. If you are not sure what is being communicated or you didn't hear the things properly, it is always advised to ask. Okay, here nobody is going to blame that whether you are asking again and again. So you have to be a very good listener first. Okay, you should listen, and when you are communicating also, you should be communicating very clearly and appropriately. Okay, nahi to normally lot of time we communicate fast and person don't understand. We should always, normally you see when they are communicating, there is always a handshake happening. Okay, so normally we say when you come, okay, radio, telephony, basics. So the person who listens it, he also says the same thing words back. Okay, radio, telephony, basics. So that means you know what I said and what he heard, he is repeating back, and you are saying, okay, fine. RT provides the means by which pilots and ground personnel communicate with each other. Okay, so like that, you should communicate slowly and crisp, clearly. Okay, so there are things when we are communicating. So radio telephony techniques, radio telephony or radio communication must be carried out in following manners through RT phonetics, that is alphabets as well as numerics. RT phraseology, it could be a Morse code and latitude longitude info. And last is you should know what is the frequency on which it is being communicated. Okay, how the frequency is being used or what frequencies are being used to communicate between the RT. Okay, so there is a phraseology. The alpha first is the phonetics, the alphabets. What we are doing, we might have heard these kind of alphabets in general. Our communication in the mobiles, during the mobile communication also we use, like, okay, whenever we are trying to tell, हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? N for what did we say? N for हम लोग जो कम्युनिकेट करते हैं ना, सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल नरेंद्र नाम स्पेसिफाई करता है, हाउ डू आई टेल? N for Nagpur, N for Nasik,
N for New, N for Nagpur,
N for Nagpur, N for Nasik, A for Apple, right? P for Pune, G for Goa, right?
So they would be saying alpha.
Standard alpha, yeah, all signs use करेंगे ना.
I'm talking about our general communication. Okay.
In general, we will always give the nearest reference.
We normally will see what is our day-to-day conversion. But in aviation world, okay, normally you will confirm in a Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So these are the standard phonetics of where we can say. So A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie. हम लोग D for क्या बोलते हैं? Delta नहीं बोलते.
हम नहीं बोलते, वो लोग डेल्टा बोलते हैं ना सर.
They say Delta, but in our day-to-day communication, होगा D for Delhi.
Right.
So that way, okay. So D for Delta, E for Echo, okay. F for Foxtrot, G for Golf, H for Hotel, I for India. So when you are communicating, if you are communicating some particular word like Nasik bolna hai, so you will say N for November, A for Alpha, S for Sierra, I for India, K for Kilo. Like this, you will communicate to them. Okay, and he will repeat. Okay, whatever he hears, he repeat. He make a note of it. The ATC will make a note of it. That's how it will be communicating. Okay, similarly, number. So when you are communicating the number, normally you will say number 1. So you will always say number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, so that way you should communicate when you are communicating the number. Number 5, number 6, number 8, number 0, number 1, something like that. So this is how you should remember. So this is very easy to remember. One or twice you read and you recollect things. You will have T for Tango. हम लोग T for Tiger बोलते हैं ना, right? But in aviation world, it is T for Tango. So this is followed globally. Okay, worldwide people follow this phonetics when we are communicating in aviation or with the ATC. Okay, then there is another something which is very, very secretive type, or when you want to communicate in a very precise way. Okay, this was normally done during the initial days when there was a communication done in a telegraph mode. Okay, so whatever the letters used to communicate in dash and dots. Okay, so letter A is dot and dash, B is dash dot dot dot, C is dash dot dash dot, or D is dash dot dot. So these are the way the phonetics are being communicated through the Morse code. Okay, this was normally done during the World War II and all that point in time. People used to communicate using the Morse code. Later on, it was adopted by the telegraph system for communicating over the long distance in a short time. Like you must be seen during 80s and 90s when the telegraph was using, the SMS part. What we see, the short, the more, because every word there was a charge for it. So you have to communicate with a very small amount of information. Like, a lot of time we used to send telegraph to the people remotely or something. So using the postal system or the telegraph system, people used to communicate, right? Start on the day one, start on today, or coming to Mumbai on 15th, something like that. So those coming, so you'll just try to simplify, make it more simpler in shorter word, so that you save money when you are communicating. But this communication, they were not sending letter M, O, P, Q kind of thing. So whatever you type, the words, they are converted into the Morse code, and the Morse code is transmitted from one location to another location, and then another person sitting at the other side, he will interpret this Morse code, and he will convert into the letters, and then he will give that to the person. Okay, that is how, because normal person will not able to know the Morse code, right? It is only the two operators who would be knowing and know how to convert the Morse code to the letter, or letter to the Morse code. They will be knowing and they will be doing it. Okay, so there are more lot of Morse code operators or telegraph people who were aware of this communication, and they used to communicate using this dot. So when you are sending the signal, you were actually giving a signal, like dot is like just tick, 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 like that. Okay, so the sound you must have heard, or you might have seen movie. Like, I give an example of movie like Razi. In Razi, you must have seen that actress used to send a Morse code information to her counterpart in India, and that's how they used to get the information. So this information cannot be easily interpreted until unless you have been trained to interpret this, or able to read the Morse code, or not read, basically listen and interpret from the noise. Okay, that signal. So dot is one dot. I mean one beep, whereas dash is nothing but it's a timing of 3 beeps. Okay, so dash is 3 beep. Dot is like tick, tick, tick. So this is one dot. Okay, but if you press the long dot, like tick, so there is a little longer time you are taking for dot. That is actually your dash. Okay, so that dash, that dash, that dot dash, that kind of thing. So that is how you have to communicate. So to learn Morse code, we don't learn Morse code like normal. We learn ABCD. Okay, here we can't say that okay, मैं पहले letter A practice करूँगा. A is nothing what dot dash. Then I will learn B dash dot dot dot. Morse code is not learned like this. Morse code you have to learn. You have to learn with simple words. For example, first word you will learn is letter E. Okay, so I say dot. So dot means E. Then next letter you will learn is T. T is dash, only dash. Then next letter you will learn is I. That is two dashes. Okay. Then you will learn two dots. Two dots is nothing but I. Then you will learn two dashes. Two dashes is nothing but M. Then accordingly you will subsequently you will learn three dots. Then you will have a combination of dash dot dash dash dash. Similar patterns of letters. There is a app, okay, on Android, where you can learn Morse code easily. Like if you spend maybe a 1 month's time practicing it, then you can easily read and easily can interpret the Morse codes. Lot of time people practice using buddy system. Like one person asks, okay, what is dot? So then he will say, okay, dot is E. What is dash? So it dash is T. Then what is double dot? Then double dot is I. Double dash M. So that way you will start learning and recognizing the patterns and the words. Okay, then you will create simple words, two letters, I and T. So I is double dot, and single dash is T. So dot dot, then you wait for time and then say dash. So that first letter is I, second letter is T. So it is it. So you will start initially framing two words, then three words, then four words, like that, and five words kind of thing. And then you have to practice. Once you are through with your understanding of the words, then probably you will make sentences, small sentences kind of thing. How are you? Okay. What is the time? That way you will form the sentences with it. So try to make smaller sentences. What is that? How you learn the Morse code. As of now, in a drone world, we don't need Morse code to be learned. This is only from the aviation perspective how the communication happens. That's why this slide is been introduced over. Okay, maybe in future when the BVLS come, this might come into picture also. Okay, now when we talk about the location, we have to communicate to the ATC the location where we are. So I hope you all people are using mobile and you would be using Google Maps also, right, on your mobile. So do you know what is the latitude of Mumbai? Do you know what is the latitude of Mumbai? Anybody knows latitude of Mumbai? No?
No, sir.
Okay, no worries. So latitude of Mumbai is between 18 and 19 degree. Okay, so we are depending upon which exact location we are. So it will be 18 or 19 degree. So nothing, latitude is nothing but horizontal lines on the earth as a sphere. So you see there is a central line which is called as equator or a 0 degree. As we climb towards the northern section, your degrees will start increase. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and up to North Pole it will be 90 degree. Same goes for the downside also. The minus 10, minus 20, minus 30, 40 accordingly. Minus 90 it will go to the South Pole. Similarly, horizontal lines are there which are called as longitudes. So longitude of Mumbai is around 72 degree. Okay, so these are nothing but horizontal line. Central line is a prime median line which passes through the Greenwich or London. Okay, so whatever is on the right side is minus, and whatever is on the left side is plus. Okay, so you might like especially Jaishil and Jagjit would have seen in their data center we have clocks with different time zones. Okay, so these time zones are created using these longitudinal lines. Okay, so that's how we know which location. Like for us, with respect to the Greenwich Mean Time or GMT, we are ahead.
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours or 5.5 hours?
5.5.
5.5 hours. We are 5.5 hours. Okay, so that's how we know from the international standard times where we are, okay, or what time we are running into. So our actually latitude is actually passing through Calcutta, right? The main line
Passes
from
somewhere to Uttar Pradesh going to Calcutta, right?
ah.
Yeah.
So
Ideally,
basically, that is the one standard line. Ideally, we should have two standard lines.
two time zones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that will create a lot of confusion. That's why we are still following only one single standard line. But if you see Russia or USA, they follow multiple standard lines also for that timekeeping and all the things. Okay, it's all up to you how you want to take. But more important is where is the cross sectional where the latitude and longitude line meets at that particular location. That latitude and longitude we need to communicate to the ATC. Okay. So let's see what is the frequency spectrum. So if you see, this is the RT radio telephony frequency spectrum. So we have a very large frequency where it is been used for maritime radio or navigation. Large frequency, medium frequency, high frequency. These are our normal day-to-day communications. What we used to use even in our day-to-day FM radio or all that. Sorry, not FM. The normal radio, AM radio, MWD radio, shortwave radios. So if you see here, the wavelength is high, but frequency is low. But as we moved on the right side, the wavelength is small. Okay, your wavelength is decreasing over here, but your frequency is high. So if you see here, ultra high frequency is the frequency on which our mobile communication, GPS, Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G, drone communication, all that happens over here. Okay, in ultra high frequency level. When drone is communicating between your drone and the remote control, it is happening under ultra high frequency. As we move further, okay, very high frequency, okay, like satellite communication or even Wi-Fi also communicating here. So normally between this UHF and SSF, you will see that communication between the drones and the normal communication between mobile, telephone, all that things are happening over this. Okay, here you can see the wavelength is small. Okay, it's see here 10 centimeter wavelength. That means the wave is small. Here see 10 kilometers. See how huge wave is there. Signal is very wave. Okay, but the frequency is very low. Okay, here wavelength is very high, but frequency is very low. But as you move on the right side, your wavelength is small. Okay, that means your frequency is very high. See here it is 3.3 gigahertz. So normally your communication between RC to the drone, the communication is happening at 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, 2.4 gigahertz. Whereas if you have a drone where your FPV camera is there and FPV goggles is there, or even on your LCD, you will see the display of your FPV camera. So that communication happens between 5 gigahertz. So somewhere here the communication is happening. Okay, so these are the two locations where your communication normally will happen, and your mobile phones or television, GPS, all that communication is happening between this frequency range. As you go on a higher wavelength, I mean shorter wavelength with higher frequency, you will normally use this for radio astronomy, satellite communications, and all that kind of technology. Okay, so that's how the radio frequency spectrum is divided and utilized for different purposes. Okay, so now the last important slide. This is the most important slide of the entire module. How do we communicate? What RT phraseology we'll use when we are communicating to ATC? So reporting to ATC unmanned, RPAS will be normally unmanned UIN. So we'll start with saying that unmanned. Unmanned should be the word you start with your communication. Then you will communicate the UIN number of your drone. Then you will say what is the latitude, longitude, and the radius of your operation. Okay, probably you could say 18 degree, 72-degree longitude, radius would be 5 kilometer, altitude would be like 400 feet. Start time would be 10 a.m. to 12 or 11:30 a.m. in the morning. Okay, that's how you will communicate to ATC. The remote pilot should prefix RPA call sign with the word unmanned whenever it is required to have a voice communication with the ATC. The moment you say unmanned, the ATC will know that you are communicating with respect to the unmanned aircraft or drone communications or drone operations. Okay, the operator needs to inform ATC with exact latitude, longitude, radius along with the altitude, the height from the base to ceiling. That means what base you will, from base to height, what you will be, operations will be carried out. RT phraseology is used in both ways. Means what? ATC will also communicate RT phraseology using alphabets and numerics. So they will normally try to, because they are talking on this phraseology day-to-day basis. So they know how to talk. But when you are talking, you should know what they are saying. You should know alpha means what, A, B means Bravo means what, C Charlie means what. You should know. नहीं तो तुम सोचेगा चार्ली क्या है, डेल्टा क्या है, right? इंडिया क्या है. You should not think about those things. So you should know RT phraseology very well and the numbers, alphabets and number. ATC frequency are to be monitored on a listen mode only. So if you are using any ATC frequency, you can only monitor it on a listen mode only. Communication is to be maintained via landline, because you cannot use ATC equipments. Okay, because you are not authorized for that. You need to have a license to operate those ATC devices. Okay, so radio communication on airband frequency is only allowed for operator who is certified to operate wireless RT equipments with a valid RT or FRTO issued by WPC, that is Wireless and Planning Commission, or DGCA respectively. Okay, as of now, your RT communication is only uh, monitored or governed by WPC. Now this is going to change to DGCA. Okay, up till now, all the RT exams, theory, practicals, everything was done by wireless and planning wing. Okay, now it is going to move to under DGCA ministry. Okay, respectively. A standard phraseology is used throughout the globe. Okay, so the phraseology, whatever we are using, it is throughout the globe is used with minor differences. Some differences are there when we are talking to people in Brazil, or if we are talking to people in Canada, or even when we are talking to people from Russia. Okay, Russia, Germany, where they do not use English language. Okay, so not very frequently. So they might be having some minor differences in the phraseology, but And 99% I would say it is any English speaking country will always use the standard phraseologies. Okay. So flight planning and procedures. So you are supposed to, like as we said, that Digital Sky is your UTM platform. So once it is operational, see earlier the DGCA planned to make the Digital Sky as a full-fledged UTM platform, but over the time DGCA thought about moving the Digital Sky platform onto the main digital website. That is the reason why their development on the Digital Sky platform is as of now on hold. Okay, so a lot of things which is been planned is not been implemented on the Digital Sky platform. So flight planning on Digital Sky platform is necessary. All landing zones, emergency landing zones should be pre-planned before takeoff. Okay, FIC and ADC should be taken. That means Flight Information Center, which confirms the flight plan. ADC is the air defense clearance, a security clearance needed before entering certain airspace. So these are certain procedures we need to follow if we are flying the drone into the yellow zone. All flight routes should be predefined. Okay, now if you see the line number 2 and line number 4, or even line number 1. So for example, in I give you in a real scenario, like suppose I am a pilot, I am going to fly from Mumbai to Delhi. So before flying the aeroplane as a pilot, my job is to file the flight plan, okay, with the ATC. So I will communicate to ATC that so and so flight I am going to fly at so and so time, on the so and so path. Okay, so I will tell like I am going to fly from Mumbai, crossing Surat, Vadodara, Ahmedabad, Jaipur, and then probably Delhi. Okay, that's how I will communicate. And then I define where what would be my landing zones, what would be my emergency landing zones in case of any problem is there. Okay, necessary FIC and ADC permissions would be taken on the path, and all flight routes should be predefined. So whatever path I am trying to fly, I should predefine that and get acknowledgement from ATC. It is not that I will sit in the aeroplane and then I will talk, okay, now I am going to fly my aeroplane from Mumbai to Delhi. It's not that. You have to file your flight plan well good in advance. Okay, you have to get it approved because ATC is monitoring a complete traffic. Okay, and they approve your flight timing and flight path, then only you are allowed to fly the aeroplane. So same is applicable when you are doing it for your drones. Okay, yeah, Jagjit, you have a question?
Yes, sir. So the flight path that we will define, now it may have multiple points that it passes through, from location A to location B. So
Correct.
do we have to define only location A and location B lat long, or the entire path lat long?
So if you see here, okay, as of now, this is not very clear because this is
Okay.
not on the Digital Sky platform itself.
Okay.
What we'll do is, like, I'll give example of the real aeroplane flying. So normally when I'm flying aeroplane, I give example of Mumbai to Delhi. Let me change the location now. From, let's say I'm flying from Mumbai to Chennai.
Hmm.
Okay, so Mumbai to Chennai, when I take off, I may pass through the sea only. Okay, so I may go through sea. I might encounter Goa airport. Okay, from there I might take inside and then go towards Bangalore, and then over the period I may reach Chennai. So in between, if there are some major airports are there, I will define those as my points. In
Okay.
case of in whatever path I am defining, okay, if this airport, suppose I am taking a path in which these aircrafts are not coming itself, so I have to define. But there are ways on which I can only fly because there are little lot of ground stations are there which actually sends the signal and tracks the aircrafts. Okay, so you
That
can't
is basis beacon, na, sir?
beacons. So those basically you cannot fly anywhere wherever you wish your aeroplane. You have to follow the approved paths of your aeroplane. So you
Right.
have to define those path and tell what is the nearest airport from landing zones or emergency landing zones. All that things you need to define. Then only ATC will verify and then they will approve it. So normally in regular commercial airplanes, now the pilots they always fly on one particular segment. Like for
Right.
example, I'm a pilot only who is flying a Indigo aeroplane on a path from Mumbai to Delhi. So I will be always flying Mumbai to Delhi. Well, next 6 months I am going to only do that only.
Right, right,
Okay, so you don't need to discover this continuously.
right.
Maybe after some times, my manager would tell you, okay, now from tomorrow onwards, you may have to fly from Mumbai to Kolkata route. Okay, so first time I will take the people who are flying on Mumbai to Calcutta airport. I may take a help from somebody else because first time I'm flying that, so I will not be a primary pilot on that route. I may be assisting some captain or some other pilot who's regularly flying on it. So maybe first 1 month I might be like a co-pilot or a buddy to it. So maybe I'll be flying from Mumbai to Kolkata as a co-pilot, but while returning, my captain would say, "You lead the flight. I will guide you." Okay, the
Right,
same
right.
scenario we are using in our drone flying also. That is the reason why we have two people in flying the drones. Okay, so when you are flying, you are following the same procedure when you are flying your drones.
Okay, okay. So it's necessary to have a co-pilot with you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So in
But
drone flying, you don't require to have a co-pilot. But for example, when you are doing a projects like you are flying for agriculture flying, I think so it is always advisable to have a second person in hand with you because lot of things you need, lot of help, lot of things you sometimes tend to miss out as an individual. Okay, so it is always advisable to have a two people doing the activities and exercises.
okay, got it, sir.
Okay. So this is just to know for you. When the aeroplane is flying, we need to communicate with ATC of our position or our height. Okay. So from a drone perspective, for us, it is only QFE. QFE is nothing but field elevation. Okay, since our drones most of the time will be flying on the ground or on the terrain surfaces, okay, or on the earth surfaces. So normally we will always communicate about our drone height with respect to QFE. So when I am saying my QFE is 200 feet, so here the ATC will automatically know that you are talking about your height with respect to the ground. But when you say my nautical height, QNH, okay, NH is nothing but nautical height. Okay, so you will say that my nautical height is 200 feet. So he will always see that you are talking with respect to the sea level. So where the sea level will come into the picture when you are near to the land and in the sea. Okay, so like for example, near to Mumbai airport, you are about to enter on the land of Mumbai. You are about to land. So you are still on the sea, but you are just seeing the land in front of you. So that is where you are nearing the land also, and you are still in the sea. That is the QNH because that is the position where you can define your sea level. But suppose in case your flight is in between the sea, deep ocean में आप हो अटलांटिक और पैसिफिक ओशन के बीच में आप फ्लाई कर रहे हो आपका एरोप्लेन there you can't find now what is the sea level because there is no reference. See, how do you reference the sea level? So you can refer the sea level with respect to the ground at the edges or on the boundary where you can say okay, now high tide is this, low tide is this, so you will average it, and that is what the mean sea level you will find it, right? So when with respect to the ground and the sea, you can tell that is a sea level. But when you are in between middle of the ocean, you cannot define what is up and down, right? Because everywhere the water is same, the level is same, you do not know up and down over there. With what reference you will measure? You can't measure. So there you can measure with respect to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that dotted line is nothing but it is an atmospheric pressure, standard atmospheric pressure of 1013.2 hectopascal. Okay, with respect to that, what is your height? That is we called as QNE. Okay, so QNE is nothing but your flight level. So normally you must have seen when the aeroplane is flying over the ocean, you will know pilot will normally say my flight level is at so and so height. Okay, my nautical height is so and so height. So you know you are nearer to the sea, you are ending the sea and you probably entering the land space. Okay, so somewhere in between is there where you can define your mean sea level. Okay, but when you say field elevation, okay, field elevation means you are on the ground or near the ground. So QFE will be on the surface, earth surface. So you will say okay, my drone or my aeroplane at the field elevation or height it is flying at 400 feet or 600 feet or 1000 feet, whatever it is. So when your aeroplane is on the ground, what would be your QFE?
It depends on the zone, so it will be 200 max.
No, no, Mike, you are
Sir, if
understand.
it's on the ground, it will be zero, sir.
Correct. So
Acha,
when it
okay,
is on
that
ground, it will be zero. QFE will be zero. As you climb, you will say, okay, 1 feet, 2 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet as you climb. Okay, so your QFE will start from zero. When you are on ground or on the runway, your QFE is zero. Your altimeter will show zero. Okay, any questions, any doubt over here? So with the drone operations, important is QFE. So when your drone is on the ground, your QFE for the drone will be show zero altitude, or the height will show as 0 feet. As it climbs, as you give the throttle, you take off and throttles up, it will start increasing its height or the altitude. Any questions over here?
Sir, when there is an emergency situation
Hmm.
and if you have not planned for it, uh, I guess like how the airlines get in touch with the ATC or they're continuously in touch with it and they ask for the nearest airport. Do we have to get in touch with these guys? And if yes, then do they respond instantaneously or how does it happen?
So are you talking from a aeroplane
No,
flying?
no, from a drone experience, sir.
No, no, because you are not flying in a controlled airspace, right? You are flying in an uncontrolled space.
Okay,
You are flying the drone in a green zone below 400 feet. So
okay.
ATC will not know anything about your operations.
Okay, okay. They will not know about it. It's just that we have to keep them posted about our
If
operations
we are
and take care of them.
flying in a yellow zone, see this
Uh-huh.
all activity, whatever this terminology, what we are talking about,
Yeah,
is in the yellow zone. Okay,
correct, correct. That you mentioned earlier.
this basically for the yellow zone operation,
Yeah, yeah.
because that is where your manned aircraft is flying and you need to update ATC about your operations.
Right, right, right,
Okay, so that will be in yellow zone.
right. So if we are in the yellow zone, then we'll have to seek their advice, right?
Yes, we have to continuously communicate with them, and whenever we are doing operations, we have to be in touch constantly. We have to be online, on landline. Then only we should able to do it.
Okay, we have to be continuously on the landline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have to, because there is no other way. See, if we
Right,
are authorized RTR operator, we will have a device where we can communicate to them directly.
right,
Like
right,
the pilots in the aeroplane, they are already done their RTR trainings, so they
right,
are
right.
authorized. That's why they have those headphones and they are continuously talking to the ATC.
ATC, yeah.
Okay, so same way here also you need to, so they will, ATC will tell you, okay, now you will be connecting to Surat ATC, please communicate with them on so and so frequency. That
Yeah,
is,
yeah. They hand over. Yeah, they keep
yeah, they
handing
hand
over.
over,
Yeah,
yeah, they will
yeah,
hand
yeah.
over and all the things. Even the pilots are aware of the frequencies also. In case they are not aware, they can ask the back ATC about what is the communication on which the Surat ATC or maybe Vadodara ATC or probably Ahmedabad ATC, how, what frequency they are communicating. So that's how we'll know about it.
Got it.
Sometimes in between, like you are flying from Mumbai to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your ATC has certain range. So in between, there won't be any communication happening also. So you are flying on your own. But as
Right,
you
right.
enter the ATC space, you will first is make the handshake. You will tell that, okay, I am so and so and I am coming from whatever. You will give the signal, like how you have UN number for
Yeah,
drone.
they will ask you for an identification also in case they are not able to identify you.
Correct, correct. So in fact, their radar will able to tell everything about it, but they will ask you to acknowledge it. You will have
Right,
to
right, right.
communicate what is your registration code of your aeroplane, Victor Tango, Delta Bravo or something, whatever. So
Yeah.
normally Indian aeroplanes starts with VT. Okay, so
Okay.
that's why Victor Tango and then ABC, like Alpha Bravo Charlie, is the name of my aeroplane or registration of my number, registration of my.
So, in case of inter-country, sir, the permissions are taken through ATC only, or there is a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
team?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So the Dubai ATC will communicate to you. Moment you enter the space, their radar will detect you.
No, no.
Okay.
Even before we tread the path, we will need to take those the like you said route permissions we need to take.
So
So
what
that
happens is, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So what happens is once you file the path, you will
yeah,
file the path to whom? Mumbai ATC.
To Mumbai ATC, yeah.
So Mumbai ATC will communicate and to their subsequent this thing.
Okay, okay. So for us, Mumbai ATC is
Mumbai ATC
a
is a
touch
point
point.
of contact for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got
If
it.
I am flying from Chennai, so my Chennai ATC is point of
Got
contact.
it, got it, got it, got it,
Subsequent.
got it.
It is their job to communicate to the respective ATCs. So they have that portal on which they communicate, and they there is a channel on which they communicate on this.
Sure, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so as I said about altimeter setting, height above the ground, the QFE, local altimeter setting equivalent to barometric pressure measured at airport, altimeter datum using signifies approach end of the runway in use. So when you start on the runway, that is where you set your altimeter to 0. Okay, so at the airport altimeter datum, the altimeter set to QFE indicates 0 altitude, meaning on the airport, the altimeter will read 0 feet. Okay, this is what I asked you. Altitude, QNH, nautical height. Okay, a local altimeter setting equivalent to the barometric pressure measured at airport altimeter datum and corrected to the sea level pressure. At the airport altimeter datum, altimeter set to QNH indicates the airport elevation. For example, tomorrow when I am talking about the weather and meteorology, we'll see about this. Mumbai airport is not at the sea level, right? It will be little bit at the height. So you have to add that elevation of the altimeter. So if you see here, okay, with respect to QNH, so you see there is a difference. Okay, so difference from this line to the ground line. So there is a difference between the height, right? So when you are talking about QNH nothing but QFE plus this difference height. Okay, so Mumbai airport is probably, I guess it is 8 meters at the height with respect to the mean sea level. So when you're talking QNH, you are actually telling QFE plus this 8-meter difference is what your QNH. Okay, that is what it's saying. At the airport altimeter datum, the altimeter set to QNH indicates airport elevation above mean sea level. So QFE plus elevation, airport elevation is your QNH. Whereas standard altimeter setting, QNE is nothing but pressure setting at 1013 hectopascal that will produce a standard atmosphere altitude and provides the basis of flight levels. Okay, that is how you will communicate. So these are the three important points when you communicate normally in your regular commercial flights. With respect to the drone operations, we are only using height above the ground, that is QFE. Okay, so on the ground, your drone will read as 0 feet. As it climbs in the air, as it goes up, will communicate accordingly. The altitude or the height with respect to the ground, it could be in meters or it could be in feet. Okay, so here I was talking about, right? QNE is this. Okay, QFE is your height plus elevation of the airport. So this is your altitude, that is QNH, nautical height. Okay, with respect to the mean sea level. Okay, so with that we complete our ATC procedure. Any questions on ATC procedures and telephony? The only important thing here you need to understand is how you are communicating to ATC. Okay, start with unmanned word, say your UN number, talk about your latitude, longitude, and your radius and your altitude of operation, your start and end time of your operations. Okay, this has to communicated prior, 2 hours prior to your actual communication. Actual operations. Then when you are actually trying to do your operations, again communicate to them, be in constant touch with them, and then continuously continue your operations under their guidance.